How to know when to cut off a toxic friend and how to cut off a toxic friend. I do not have any notes today. I just want to speak purely from whatever comes out of my heart and soul. This topic is very near and dear to me because I very recently had to do this. So this is very fresh in my life. And the first thing I want to say is I do not like the word toxic. I have used it and I will use it just because it is relatable and it is a common term that we use nowadays. But the reason why I don't like that word is because we are all humans. We're all human. We have past trauma and hurts and things that have caused us to have habits and personality traits that are not healthy or desirable or agreeable. And part of, not just part, the reason that we are on this planet is to make mistakes and to grow and to evolve and to learn. So, using the word toxic in my eyes categorizes somebody as just irreparable, somebody who cannot be fixed, who cannot be saved. And I truly believe that we all can grow and learn and become our best and healthiest selves on different timelines. But I truly believe that all humans deserve compassion. That doesn't mean that you should let them in your life and let them wreak havoc on your mental health, but I mean emotional compassion, where if you have a toxic friend who has done terrible, what you consider terrible, hurtful, and harmful behaviors to you, it's not about letting them in your life and just saying, I'm just going to put up with what they're doing to me because I feel bad for them and I understand where they're coming from. It's not about that. It's about cutting off that friendship, setting that boundary, saying, I am not available for this friendship. I do not deserve to be treated this way. But energetically, the way that you view them is by saying, I feel for you and I do not hold you in contempt. I'm not angry with you. I understand that the reason why you are the way you are is because of your past hurts and traumas. And although it's not necessarily your fault, it is your responsibility to heal and do the inner work so that you can be somebody that can have healthy, positive relationships. And that's not my job. But I am not going to sit here and say, you're wrong, you're bad, you're toxic, you're this. I understand that you are just a human being. And the reason why you are the way you are is because you were hurt by somebody else. And now you are projecting that hurt onto me and other people. And unfortunately, that means that I cannot have you in my life. But that does not mean that I think that you are less of a person. That is the mindset that we need to have when it comes to toxic people, where you do not allow them access into your life. You do not allow them access to your energy. But for your own sake, you do your best to every day let go a little bit more and more of the hurt and the pain that they caused you. Trust me. Okay. If somebody's hurt you, I mean, if somebody's emotionally, physically abused you, you're not gonna get over that tomorrow, next week, next month. It's going to take a lot of inner work, healing work, forgiveness, compassion, feeling your anger, feeling that pain that this person caused you, moving through those emotions in order for you to be able to be at a place where you feel at peace of saying, I just have compassion for you. It's not gonna happen overnight. No, it's not gonna happen overnight, and that's okay. But for your sake, they say being angry at somebody and holding on to that resentment only hurts the person who is feeling that anger and feeling that resentment. And it's so true. And that's something that I've really had to come to learn because I definitely can take things personally. And I've had to realize it's not personal. This person is going through their own pains and hurts and traumas, and they may be projecting certain things on me, but it's not personal. And I need to learn how to let it go. And so that's something that I've had to work on with, relationships and with friendships that haven't worked out, is just learning how to not take things personally. But anyways, so for me, I had an and I truly still have so much love for her to this day. She has a very good heart, and I know and can feel that. But because of her upbringing, where she had parenting that left her feeling unsafe, in our dynamic, in our relationship, the communication that I wanted to have with her communication style was very aggressive and forceful and domineering, in my opinion. And I like to communicate with people in a way that is kind, calm, rational, where we can both see both point of views, and we're never putting the blame on the other person, but we're coming to the conversation saying, hey, here's how I viewed it. Here's how I felt. What are your thoughts? And being able to come to a mutual understanding. And I felt like I could not do that with this friend. I could not have that calm, rational conversation. I felt that if I were to communicate my emotions and my needs, she would become defensive and angry. And that made me scared to communicate my feelings, because I was scared of how she would react. And I realized that for me, that I cannot have friendships and relationships where I feel that way. At least ones that I choose. There's gonna be so many people in my life that I am gonna come up against, and we may not mesh well, and that's okay. That is okay. And there are gonna be people who are defensive, who do have aggressive styles of communication. That's fine. That's what life is about, is interacting with all different types of people. However, in terms of the people in my life that are very close to me that I can choose to be around, I've learned that I am only here for relationships and friendships where we can communicate non-defensively, and we can talk about our emotions and our feelings in a way that is not putting the blame on the other person, because we both understand that we're both coming at it from our own lens, and we may not have the full view and picture. So when we communicate, it's not about, hey, this is how the situation is, I'm right. It's about, hey, this is how I see what is happening. I could be wrong, but this is how I see it. This is how I feel about it. And I would like to get your input. If you agree, or if you saw the situation differently, maybe there was a misunderstanding, and let's talk about it. So at this point in my life, I've done so much inner work to not take things defensively, to have positive relationships and communication styles. And I've done a lot of inner work where my peace of mind is so valuable to me that I'm only here for relationships and for friendships, even with my family members, that we can communicate and we can maintain a relationship that feels loving, positive, and that we want the best for one another. And it's never about trying to push our egos and see who's best or who's right, or blame the other person. We take responsibility for our own actions, our own emotions. But if something is bothering us, we're able to communicate that in a way that, again, is not attacking the other person. So for me, that is a huge pillar of a healthy friendship and relationship. And there's so much more in terms of a toxic relationship. I've never been in anything physically abusive, so I cannot speak on that. That's a completely different ball game that I am not well equipped to talk about. But in terms of what I consider potentially toxic behaviors, and again, I don't like that word, but I use it just so that we can both understand what I am referring to, is I do I really look for women who are secure in themselves. If they are insecure, and they talk negatively about themselves and they compare themselves to other women, or they just have, if they are not secure in who they are and they do not fully love the woman that they are and understand the value that they bring to the table, what I have learned is that the women who do not understand that, they will project their insecurities onto you, onto other women. They'll compare themselves and they will have this energy, even if they're so kind and giving and thoughtful. I am telling you right now, that insecurity will come back to bite you in your relationship. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'm the insecure person, I'm the one where I don't love myself and I do compare myself to other women, that is okay. We're all human and we're all working on this. I didn't come out the womb being secure and loving myself. This is something I really had to work on. And so I wasn't always a great friend. I really had to work on it. So if you feel that you're that friend who you're not secure in yourself and you don't fully love it yourself and you don't fully know what you bring to the table, that is okay. Take this as an invitation for you to work on those areas so that you can become a woman who loves herself and who's secure in herself and who respects herself. Because if you struggle with being secure in who you are going to put up with other friends and friendships where they're also insecure and they're going to bring that negativity or toxicity into your friendship because you attract what you are. So my best piece of advice, if you struggle with your own confidence, is working on that first, because if you work on your own confidence and self-love, you are not going to accept any friendships or relationships where you feel that the other person doesn't match your energy, you feel that the other person doesn't match your level of self-love and confidence. We want to hold people who love themselves and truly understand their value, to come together in whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship where you can both bring your best self into that and co-create together, where whatever you guys like to do together, whether it's going out to eat and trying new restaurants, playing sports together, traveling, or maybe you like to do all those things. You want two whole and healthy people to come together and do that together, because that makes the relationship and your experience together amazing beyond words. But I'm telling you right now, if either of you struggle with your self-confidence and self-love and understanding how amazingly unique and beautiful you are, it is going to spill into your friendship. And so for me, I really, number one, I had to notice friends and women if they were insecure, if they did not love themselves, no matter how nice and kind they were to me. I can't do it. I'm gonna be kind and respectful, but I'm not gonna give you my precious time and energy. I'm not gonna do that. Again, I will never be rude or disrespectful, but I understand now that the women in my life who are I consider very close friends, they have to have that baseline level of confidence and self-respect and self-love. They just have to. So that is a huge green/red flag that I look for in other females when I'm figuring out whether this is a friendship that I want to entertain and give my energy to or not. Another thing that ties into, their level of confidence and self-love is, do they gossip about other women? Do they talk badly about other women? Do they gossip about people? Immediate red flag. Immediate red flag. And that's something that I actually had to look at within myself too, where I was like, am I gossiping about other people? Because I used to gossip about other people. I love the tea. I love the drama. I am a human. I'm a woman just like any other girl. It's interesting. It's fun, right? But I've had to learn that if I accept that behavior in me, I'm also accepting that behavior in other women. And also, just in general, the act of talking and gossiping about other women, it is such a low vibration habit. And all it does, truly all it does, is it's going to make you subconsciously insecure about yourself, because number one, you're saying, well, I talk badly about other women. So if I do it, I'm going to expect other women to talk badly about me. But also, the energy that you give out, the energy that I give out when I'm gossiping and talking badly about other women, that's going to come directly back to me. So I've had to really catch myself. And if I ever notice myself even just wanting to talk about somebody else, I have to catch myself in that moment and stop myself and go, what is this doing? What is this doing other than hurting me? And also allowing this other person that I'm gossiping to think that that's okay to bring into our friendship. If I'm doing it, of course, they're going to think it's okay to do that. And that, to me, that is not a friendship that I want to have, that I want to create. And it's my responsibility to catch that within me first. What I do like to talk about are our goals, our dreams, our aspirations, things that we've learned, things that we're working through. If we need support, how we can support one another. That 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 is what I have learned I want to be here for, I want to be available for, and I want to talk about in friendships, but not about other people to gossip, to vent. No. If I'm talking about somebody else, it's to get advice on how to handle a situation. That is it. That is the only time for me that I deem is acceptable, because otherwise it is a negative habit that's just going to bring me down. And again, I am human. I'm human. Okay. I'm not perfect. So like sometimes it will slip. I really do like I love reality TV shows. I love, all of those things. And I've really had to work on that within myself. So I want you to know I'm saying this not to say I am holier than thou, because I'm not. I'm a girl, a human, a Scorpio. Okay. We love the tea. We love the drama. But I've had to catch myself and understand, okay, no, that's not a habit that I want to continue, that I want to instill in me, that I want to teach other women is okay. I know. So I need to catch that within myself and stop that immediately. Immediately. So number one, they have to have a baseline level of security and self-love within themselves. And likewise, I do too. You do too. And then number two is also, if they gossip or talk badly about other women, immediate, no, no, no. And again, that is something that I have to start with within myself. And those are two things that I'm going to touch on just in today's video, because they're so honestly rare to find. It is hard. I'm sorry. Take that back. It's not hard. It's not hard, but it is rare to find a woman who is truly loves and accepts and is secure within herself and does not gossip or talk badly about other women. And so understanding that, I have had to learn that I don't even like saying it's rare, because there's so many amazing women out there who do love themselves and who don't gossip. So you know what? Let me just take that back. No, because I don't want to speak that limitation over myself. It is not rare. There are so many amazing women out there who embody both of those qualities, which are necessary for a positive and healthy friendship. So many women, okay? So many women. However, I have to be so solid in myself first and make sure that I am embodying those qualities first and foremost, so that I'm not being a hypocrite, but also that I attract what I am, because we attract what we are, like we previously talked about. So those are two absolute essential qualities that I now work on within myself, but also look for in terms of friendships. And if you do have a close friend or a friendship that isn't helping you be your best self, that you do have to walk on eggshells around this person, or they just bring a level of insecurity or negativity into your life, and it's just something that you no longer want to entertain, and you're wondering, how do you cut this person off? How do you communicate with them? Number one, I want you to understand that depending on their level of emotional maturity, they may get defensive and hostile and aggressive. I don't know your friendship. I don't know the person that you're referring to, but you do have to understand that that is a potential and a possibility if you choose to have this conversation with them. So I need you to use your best judgment and ask yourself, do I believe this person is capable of having even a somewhat emotionally mature conversation? If I do, it's kind and respectful for you to have that conversation with them and tell them that you no longer want to continue the friendship, and tell them why, because that may be what they need to hear to really feel that fire lit under their butt to work on themselves. Maybe nobody's ever had that hard conversation with them because it's uncomfortable and scary to have that hard conversation with someone to tell them you don't want to be friends with them and why. But maybe you telling them that is what they need to hear to actually say, wow, this person doesn't want to be friends with me because of this quality, and that the pain of that is so much for them that they're finally willing to work on that quality. Okay, so if they are willing to, if you think that they have a baseline level of maturity where they can and are willing to have that conversation with you without getting overly aggressive or hostile or defensive, please have that conversation with them. I think it's going to do them a huge, I was going to say service. It's going to help them. It's going to help them. So for, there's no right or wrong way to do that. For me, I called this particular friend and I let her know, hey, you have done so many wonderful, amazing things for me in our friendship, and I want you to know that I don't take any of that for granted. I don't. I think you're an amazing woman and I love and care about you. However, I do not feel safe communicating with you. If we have a disagreement, I fear that whatever I communicate, you may react um in a way that doesn't make me feel safe to have that conversation with you. And so because that is how I feel in terms of our disagreements, that we can't have a rational, calm conversation, it really impacts my mental and emotional health when those times come up. And I have to protect myself and my emotional and mental health. And so, unfortunately, this is not a friendship that I can continue, but I want you to know that I love and appreciate you. That was the conversation I had. And it was not, I think I sat for a good minute or two in silence, just trying to get the words out. It was very difficult and very uncomfortable. But for me, that is how I communicated with them, where I let them know, number one, I just want you to know that these are the things that I loved and appreciated about you and our friendship. And I don't take any of those things for granted. It was an amazing experience while it lasted. Number two, this is the reason why I can no longer continue this friendship with you. And framing it in a way where you are, rather than saying, blaming it on the other person, saying, you always do this, you always do that, but really coming at it from your own vulnerable emotions of, hey, I don't feel safe. I feel insecure when you talk about other women, and it makes me scared that maybe you're talking about me behind my back, framing it in a way of not saying, you always do this, you always do that, attacking the other person, but again, just telling them how you really feel and how you don't feel safe or loved or taken care of or valued in your friendship. Coming at it from that way is going to allow them to hear you much better when you communicate with them. So, number two, communicating why you can no longer continue the friendship. And again, do your best in a way to not frame it that you're attacking that person or making it their fault, but really coming at it from how, when they do certain things or the way the friendship is, makes you feel. Because again, they're going to be a lot more receptive and understanding when you frame it in that way. And in the conclusion, again, just reiterating and letting them know that you did and do care about them as a person. But again, you ultimately have to protect yourself. You have to take care of yourself first and foremost. And if you want to, you can say that you're sorry that you have to end the friendship. I highly recommend, if you're somebody who is nervous and anxious and struggles to communicate in general, that you write down what you are going to say before you say it. Having a script, or at least like key points that you're going to talk about, is very helpful in communicating what you need to say. However, if you have made the judgment that you don't think they're at a level of emotional maturity where they can have that conversation with you, then at that point, it is up to you whether you just cut all communication, you block them, you do what you need to do to keep yourself safe, because you understand that having that conversation with them is not going to be productive in any way, and that you communicating and trying to tell them what didn't work out, they're not going to listen in the slightest, and they are going to just attack you and put it back on you. If you don't feel that they have that level of emotional maturity. I do not have anything against just blocking and not responding and ghosting, because you have to do what you need to do to protect yourself first and foremost. But again, if you do think they're capable of having that conversation, have that conversation with them, and you can let them know, hey, if you can either choose to meet up with them in person or talk on the phone or text or voice message. A lot of people will say, you should meet somebody in person or you should give them a phone call because it's rude to do it over text. I don't think it's rude. I think you have the decision and choice to communicate however you want to communicate. It's completely up to you. I don't think either is good, bad, right, or wrong, but I do think it's important that you, in some way, shape, or form, communicate that with them, again, assuming they have that level of emotional maturity and that capability of having that conversation with you. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If you are struggling with a toxic friendship and you don't know whether it's time to cut it off or how to cut it off, there are no hard and fast rules about if you should cut it off. For me at this point in my life, I have a very low tolerance for what I am willing to put up with, for lack of better term, in a friendship or relationship. And again, that doesn't mean I'm going to be hostile or rude. I understand how valuable my energy is, and I'm only going to give that to people that I personally deem are worth it and on the same emotional level of maturity and positivity and inner work that I am as well. So there is no hard and fast rule, right or wrong. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you, okay, at this point, you should cut it off with them. A lot of people want to hear that, where they go, well, they're great in this way, but they're not great in that way. When is it time to cut it off? Nobody can tell you but you. And I think what you need to do if you're asking yourself that question is go inward and ask your gut intuition. And honestly, if you're already asking yourself that question, I think that's already a huge sign that it's time to end it. You're already watching this video asking yourself that question, because there's so many amazing women out there who are willing to bring nothing but positivity and optimism and love and light to your friendship. So that's how I see it, where why would I why would I put up with a friendship that, when there's just an abundance of amazing people out there. There is. And again, as much as I care and love about this person, I've got to detach. I've got to protect myself. So no hard and fast rules, but if you're already asking yourself that question, I think that you should take that as a huge sign that it's time. And I know how hard that conversation is going to be, to tell somebody you don't want to be friends with them. I just went through it. I know it's very difficult. However, I promise you, on the other side of it, you're going to be so proud of yourself that you had the courage to have that difficult conversation when most people don't have that courage. Good for you. That is amazing. And that deserves a massive, massive round of applause. And I hope that when you do it, you throw yourself a mini party and you celebrate the heck out of yourself and you take yourself to a dinner date and a movie, because that's hard. It is not easy to do that. Trust me, I know. I know. And after I had the Harvard conversation, yes, I had to mourn the friendship, but damn, did I celebrate the heck out of myself and go, Vivian, I'm so proud of you for having that hard conversation and for having the bravery to cut off a friendship when most people would just drag their feet, complain, feel stuck. No, no. I'm so proud of you because I know how hard that was. That is what I told myself. And that is what you're going to tell yourself when you cut off this toxic friendship. That is what you're going to tell yourself. So instead of thinking, oh my God, this conversation is going to be so painful, I don't want to do it, I want you to instead focus on how great you're going to feel after you end the friendship, and how that extra emotional, mental, physical space that you're now opening up is allowing for other amazing women, men, friendships into your life, because there are billions, billions of motherfucking people on this planet, okay? Let it go. Let it go. All right. I love you so much, and hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.